This is a free sample of the book Breaking Your OnlyFans Addiction by Cairo Copeland. The first half of this book is posted right here on YouTube, free for everyone to listen to. If you like this content and want to hear or read the rest, or want to listen to it free of ads, visit reinventideal.com/OnlyFans. The book is available on Kindle, paperback, and Audible at reinventideal.com/OnlyFans.
Chapter 1: How OnlyFans Slowly Destroys Your Life. To best illustrate the problem in an addicted user's life, I will use this Reddit post from a very honest Redditor that has all the elements of the addiction outlined. The headline for the post reads, "I've developed an OnlyFans addiction over the course of quarantine. I'm pretty sure I've spent way too much money and I don't know how to feel." The title indicates that he can recognize the financial setbacks he'll suffer from this, but he's also conflicted because he did receive pleasurable dopamine rushes for those expenses. If the exchange were completely fair, would he really put all the energy into posting on Reddit about it? Especially when the social imperative is to label him a loser or pathetic. You don't see people make cry for help Reddit posts after fair exchanges like buying groceries or paying for movie tickets. But when it comes to attaining sexual satisfaction, the guys that pay for it know deep down that something is wrong with what they're doing. More on that later. The Redditor continues. "So one day I was curious about OnlyFans. I have always been a fan of amateur porn, so the fact that I'd be able to directly support the girl was interesting. I do support sex work, and didn't want to continue funding bad practices in the industry using certain websites, so OnlyFans was great to me." The bad practices he's referring to come from a misconception of how the porn industry recruits its performers. While early on the industry conducted abuse of its actresses regularly, which was made famous with the Linda Lovelace case in the 70s, the smut business is far from that kind of environment today. On the shoot of a porn flick, everybody caters to, compliments, and even bows in subservience to the female performers. This is because upsetting an actress to the point of her storming off the set or abandoning the project would result in at least $10,000 wasted in production and crew costs just for one day. Further, despite what the documentary Hot Girls Wanted would have you believe, many porn producers turn aspiring porn actresses away because they can sense the girls are only seeking easy money. Those producers don't want future lawsuits, nor the guilt on their conscience of permanently tarnishing this girl's future because the money she's paid will one day run out, while the internet will keep her deed online forever. The idea of using OnlyFans to directly support the creators as a moral stand because it doesn't involve a potentially abusive middleman is incredibly flawed thinking. Back to the post. "I thought I'd only check a profile here and there, but the platform hits all boxes for the porn I'm into. Now I'm stuck on renewal for 20 different profiles." That's an evil genius element to the OnlyFans grift. Rather than asking you to spend $500 for the month up front, they ask for very small amounts, randomly throughout time, that eventually add up. The amounts, like $4.99, are so small that they seem harmless and trick you into thinking that's not going to break my bank without you realizing you've spent that amount 10 times this month already. They seem so inconsequential until you add them all up. He continues. "I don't even want to look at my account spendings because I feel so ashamed and would be embarrassed if one person knew about it. The fact that I'm supposedly in my prime years doesn't make me feel better. I'm still in my 20s, and seeking for a love interest doesn't appeal to me. I have hobbies and interests that I'm absolutely passionate about, but I'm way too unmotivated to put in effort. Being stuck in the house doesn't help with looking for inspiration. This goes to show that the problem can attack anyone. While society at large thinks only incels and losers fall for the grift, everyone can fall prey to it, even successful guys with their shit together. After all, the guy that was paying Jasmine Blue's bills long after she dumped him had to be a successful guy to afford the lifestyle she demanded he pay for. And for those who don't know about that story, this was a big shock that occurred over YouTube, and this chick made the rounds right after. what it was is this chick was one of those thoughts, and by the way, thought, T-H-O-T, that stands for that hoe over there. It's just a word that we use to describe these hoes that are using their looks to make money. So this thought had dumped her boyfriend, who apparently was a very rich guy. Now, when they were together, he put her up in a really nice apartment and bought her a really nice car. And even after she dumped him, though, she insisted that he still continue to pay for those things. He still continues to pay for the lease on her apartment. He still continues to pay the bill on her car because she had gotten accustomed to that lifestyle and just can't give it up now. And it was such a shocking story that one guy was just so pathetic and desperate and such a pitiful simp, but then also this one chick was so self-centered and entitled to believe that she deserved it. Because she went around the different channels on YouTube doing the interviews and basically saying, oh no, I'm in the right here. There's nothing wrong with what I'm doing. Now here's the larger point. Despite what society says, you are not a loser if you have fallen for this temptation, fallen for subscribing to OnlyFans, because there is mass conditioning and brilliant neurological engineering that went into tricking you to fall for this grift. You're only a loser if you continue after you know the plot against you. The post continues. The last relationship I was in was about 2 years ago, but I haven't really bothered since. Also, I'm pretty sure I suffer from trauma after having a toxic relationship for some years. I get matches on Tinder, yet all the complicated first steps just intimidate me. I've had Tinder for a while, and still haven't bothered to try and do a date. This is a common complaint I hear from clients in my coaching practice, and a big part of why I even have one to begin with. The dating and mating market of today is far different from the one they were promised before they were old enough to enter it. In your grandfather's day, the way to get a girlfriend was to be a hard-working, church-going, semi-good-looking enough, sweet complimenting gentleman. Those days are gone forever. Flooded with choice, as well as displeased with the choices, today's female inhabitants of the dating market demand much more. This problem is thoroughly outlined in Never Ghosted Again and Don't Be Sympathetic, 2 of my other books. But to briefly summarize, because male thirst for sex and female intimacy is at an all-time high today, women put greater premiums on their companionship. They will demand you not only be well off financially, but also what you do to get there needs to be something respectable. You can't be a plumber or an electrician despite how respectable and well paid those professions are. You must also be very sociable, which is getting more and more difficult in today's increasingly isolating world. They expect you to always have something brilliant, witty, or deeply stimulating to say. You need to have an expensive car she can be proud to be seen driven around in. You need luxury items like a boat. You need a well-established, diverse social circle of interesting people. They expect you to have incredible talents like being able to sing, play guitar, dance, fix cars, fix things around the house, fix computers and phones. They approach the dating market like a Build-A-Bear order. All these skills like music and fixing things take a long time to acquire. One man cannot have the skills of an auto mechanic, electrician, and musician as a side dish while working a career that pays well enough to have luxury items like a boat. Young males that are new entrants to the dating market will not have these things because they are just now entering the real world. They haven't lived long enough to acquire these things, especially when employers don't take them seriously until they are 35 years old. Thus, they will not be granted access to the one thing they can't stop thinking about, sex with women, for many years. Perhaps a decade, even. This man is made more rare with the requisites of physical fitness and 6 feet in height. Tinder now has height verification. Ironically, it does not have weight verification, which is something you can actually do something about, whereas height, you cannot. Another example of how the world serves the fempowerment mandate at the expense of all else. The end result is that many young males will gravitate to OnlyFans as their primary source of sexual satisfaction, and in these early years of their sexual development and maturity, it will condition their minds to view intimacy as something to be bought, not as a connection to be mutually built between 2 interested parties. He goes on in the post. I'm in a big group of friends, and a lot of them are dating, yet I'm over here spending my money on girls that don't even know my face, and I in tune with everyone while being around them. Haven't really told anyone how much I'm suffering, and it's not really a visible problem. I wouldn't even want to confide in anyone I knew about this problem because OnlyFans consumers seem to be shunned within my social circle. To further compound the problem, the addicted feel as though there's nowhere they may go for help. When you make a product that people can't help but use and are afraid to ask for help to stop using, you've done something extraordinarily evil. The post continues. I do feel better about being able to support the girls I get pleasure from, but I know it's unhealthy for my current lifestyle. I probably most likely need therapy for multiple reasons. You won't feel good about supporting these girls by the time you finish the book, because you'll soon see they are not these damsels in distress. They were otherwise innocent beauties and just happened to fall on hard times to resort to OnlyFans grifting. No, these women have nothing but disgust and disdain for you. Many of them are the scum of the earth themselves, and for the few good-hearted ones that exist, your support of them is destroying what goodness is left in them. Back to the post. I miss doing social things and being surrounded by my wholesome extrovert friends that made me feel comfortable. With all that missing, it can be pretty lonely. Spending money on OnlyFans gives me a false sense of appeasement because of how the service works, and it's way too damn effective for me. Yes, the effectiveness of this grift is what makes it so dangerous for every male. Even guys you wouldn't suspect to have this kind of problem. We continue peeling back the seductive mask of this poison by examining how this grift works so effectively. Just like how medical professionals and researchers fight disease, they first seek to understand what a perfect enemy it is. They learn their enemy inside out. So too must you to overcome this addiction rather than be overcome by it.
Thank you for listening to this free sample of the book Breaking Your OnlyFans Addiction by Cairo Copeland. If you enjoyed it and want to hear or read the rest, or want to listen to it free of ads, visit reinventideal.com/OnlyFans. The book is available on Kindle, paperback, and Audible at reinventideal.com/OnlyFans.